Hey guys, it's Phoenix. I have returned back home, so now I can update you guys on the developmental state of Minecraft 1.13. A lot of things have changed while I was away. Something very unusual and something I didn't really expect to come to Minecraft is, of course, the debug stick that I will be demonstrating today and teaching you guys how to use. It is a very useful command tool and building tool. Basically, access to a lot of new blocks that ordinarily would be a little bit difficult for people to handle if you're not proficient with commands. So essentially I have a debug stick which you can give yourself with the /give command at p debug stick _stick. And there you have it, not L, K, and then press enter and you'll give yourself a debug stick. Now you can already see that I have created a slew of different models and blocks which some of you might not be familiar with if you don't build. So essentially what you do with this stick is you right click on things to change the block state, and how you use this is essentially as follows. So you have really 2.5 different functions with this stick. The first one is your left click, which is your hitting item. So essentially what you do is you can cycle through the options with your left click button on a single block. A log can have different states. So what I mean is they can face different ways. So if you place a log sideways, it will have its bark horizontally placed. Right now it's vertically placed. So what I'm going to do is hit this and it says selected axis. This is one of the options. You haven't done anything yet. You've simply selected the axis option, and a log only has one option. So it doesn't matter how many times I hit this, it will keep saying selected axis. And to simply alternate through the axes options, you use right click, which is your using function. And now you can see that I'm changing the axis of this log to go up, sideways, backwards, and forwards. And that's it. And that's all you can do with this. Now, what I mean by 2.5 ways is the other halfway is simply pressing shift or holding it and then cycling through the same way. And you can see that by holding shift, it's going counterclockwise. If I don't hold shift, it's going clockwise. And that's basically it. Now this terracotta block only has one option as well. It's the facing option, which is very similar to the axis option, really. And finally, with this sign, it's the same thing. Well, you can't right-click a sign. You have to hold shift anyway, because if you right-click a sign, you actually activate the pressing effect, which is run by Telraw. Don't need to worry about it, but right now I can only rotate this counterclockwise. I can't rotate it the other way. But otherwise, a sign also has only one option. Now, why is this so useful? Not only does it allow you to access blocks which you wouldn't normally have, like this stair right here, which I'm gonna return to its default state. But essentially, by returning it to its default state, you can see that you now have access to a lot of different types of blocks you wouldn't normally have, in addition to the new blocks you have in your creative inventory, which comes with this 1.13 snapshot. You can see you can now have bark variants of these logs. You can also have access to the stone variant, the smooth stone. Now, the other really cool thing that comes with this debug stick is it also shows you the option available. So let's go and cycle through this. So what I want to do is go through and hit the stair. You can see that there are 3 options you can change. The shape, which is what I changed before. The facing, which you would be familiar with already with these ones. And you also have the half. Now the half bottom is essentially flipping up and down. What I'm going to do is change the shape, which is really awesome. You can now alternate through the stair shapes without having to place other adjacent stairs. Now you now have this really funny variant of it, which is, if you press F3, facing west, half bottom, outer _ left. Now with this debug stick, you don't even need to press F3. You now have various options you can cycle through by simply hitting it. And what this does is it allows you to go through your commands and set block this variant yourself. So let's go through that. Let's experience this. So I've already done this just to test it out, confirm my beliefs it's actually true, and it also guides you. This Dinnerbone's new UI guides you through the set block command. So purpose stairs facing west, comma, half, bottom. You don't really need to do that. I think that's the default. And shape, outer left. Enter. And there you have it. You have replicated this block. Something that you actually need to keep in mind is that this does not actually affect the behavior of other blocks. Now I'm actually going to demonstrate this to you guys so you can see what I mean. But having a look at this is a redstone dust. So what I'm going to do is power it up. So I'm going to switch the power all the way up to 15. You can see that it doesn't actually affect the adjacent redstone dusts. Now this one here, I've actually changed the south and west, east, and north up. So what that means is I can make it go up and down if I want to. You can see it actually, yeah, now it's up. It's invisible if you look on the outside, because there's no block. It's not meant to be like that. There's no block here, and having a block here would normally allow the redstone dust to shoot upwards, and you wouldn't actually be able to see it. So that's what I did here. And just to quickly demonstrate this, again, as similar to the sign, you can't right-click this. You have to do shift-click, shift-right-click. And what I'm going to do is simply cycle through to the powered state. And now it's powered set to true. I didn't right-click this. I shift-right-click this. And you can see with this button turned on, this redstone dust is still off. Same thing with the lever. I need to do that. Here we go. True and false. Again, this redstone dust does not turn on. Okay, same thing. Let's just go through another example here. This is a beetroot. I'm reverse right-clicking, so you can see that it is cycling backwards. Here are another couple of examples. I have this chorus, plants and fruit, flowers, and you can see that I'm also able to sort of generate a really nice cross formation here, just by doing that. And also here I can affect the age of this chorus flower, and that would turn it to white and purple respectively. Okay, and there are some also hidden items that you can place down with set block, but here I also have a pumpkin stem block, attached pumpkin stem. You wouldn't be able to have access to this unless you set block, but you can also change the orientation of this. It doesn't really matter. And also with pistons, I can change it to face whatever direction I want. I can also change it. Okay, I didn't actually do that. Make it short and not short, which is basically this bottom part here. You can probably better see it here. Yeah, it's underneath the block. It changes the pixels by about 4 pixels, I think. And funnily enough, you can change it to sticky and non-sticky. I didn't know that the extended area of a piston can be changed from normal to sticky. So another thing you can keep in mind, it's more of just an appearance thing, but it is an option to set block a piston extension or piston underscore head to be a variant of sticky or not. There's one thing you also need to keep in mind with this, because I said it doesn't affect the block itself or the adjacent blocks. Whenever you do something like this, so you want to change it to face the ceiling, and then you block update it, it disappears. So you need to be careful that this is only a creative mode thing. You need to be very careful with the way you place blocks like this and craft your own models or buildings, that if it's an unusual state or not an accepted state, it will be vulnerable when you block update the adjacent ones. Or actually block update the block itself by placing adjacent blocks. And here's an example of something that I built which will be affected by this. Now this is a bed which I modified to be able to look like this, like a bench or some sort of seat, a cushioned seat. And every time I block update something adjacent to this bed will disappear, and these unusual stair formations will also be removed. Now what I have here is snowy grass, so obviously it's not snowing, but by simply right-clicking snow, you can change it to look like that. This is a new stone block, which it's not new, but it's now accessible in your creative inventory. This is a little bench. This is a turned lit furnace. This is a powered activator rail. These are faced upwards pistons with no piston base. And you've got sunflowers, which look like short sunflowers. There's nothing underneath. I can assure you of that. If I break anything underneath it, it will update and it'll disappear. And these are unusual tall grass. So essentially, I've changed the top block to look like the bottom one. And here is another example of a bed which I modified. Now you can actually see it's reversed, so without any custom textures, it's going to look really weird. So it's going to look disjointed or incongruous. But there you have it. This is something that you can do. You can build this with the new debug stick. It's a lot easier with the debug stick, but you still need to be careful of the nuances and the behavior of blocks like this, because this is not acceptable behavior. This is more of a debug thing, as the name suggests. Obviously, a lot of blocks you can custom model, and you can make it look different. So essentially what I mean by the ability of this debug stick is you can simply right-click certain blocks and make them change to whatever block you want. Now this is an example from Bentrone's texture or model for Pokemon Cobalt and Amethyst. And this is a powered rail, I think. And what you can do is simply change this. It's activator rail. I think it's an activator rail. And you can change the appearance of this block to look like anything you want. So you don't even need to, well, with resource packs, with this ability, you can change the block state for blocks and make them look like different blocks every time you right click them. So something that you can keep in mind with this, but otherwise this is just an overview of the ability of this debug stick, which I think is an intended feature. Hopefully it is. It is a very useful tool for both commands and building. So you can see what I've done here. Let me turn this off now, and it's going to crash anyway, so actually I won't do that. But now we have a barbecue that looks terrible. And yeah, so this is something that you can do now with 1.13 Minecraft. With the new debug stick, you can modify block states to grab blocks which you normally would not have easy access to. So hopefully this helped you guys out and gave you insight into how to use this tool. It's very useful, and hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more creative content. Take care.